welcome to R&R Cine Talks. I am Clinton Robison, and I will be your guide through this journey of everything independent film related. Sit back and listen to me as I interview various people involved in the film industry, do some movie reviews, and have some great generalized discussions. Thank you, and enjoy. Alright, everyone, thank you for joining me again today on R&R Cine Talks. Today is the second episode of the cast talk that we're having. Here with me, I have Nick Kafkis, who will be playing the character of Tobias Williams in ParaGenex Shadow of the Mind. I don't know if I said that. Also with me, I have Marcus Jorgensen. His camera is kind of on the fritz. It works sometimes, it works not, sometimes it doesn't, but you can hear him. And he will be playing the character of Jacob Williams. Say hi, Marcus.
Hello.
Okay, so the audio does work. And then also we have Karl Licht, who will be playing the part of Lawrence Williams. Both of these two's, could I say, bad parents? I think that's a good...
I'd say Old Testament strict parent.
That
Bible dad.
That checks out. That checks out. Old Testament dad. That checks out.
Yeah.
That definitely checks out. And we're gonna be talking not just about the project, but also just about ourselves, future projects. It's kind of just more of getting to know all of us in a little more of an informal way than the standard interview. So... let's start off with the project, and I think usually this podcast we stay on subject for a whole 5 minutes and then we derail. I think we can do five. We can do 5 minutes for the project. So, Nick, what do you feel about your character? How does Toby feel to you as a human being?
So, a little bit about me. I was a psych major, so I read about schizophrenics quite a bit. And it's a subject that's always fascinated me. So getting to kind of explore the mind of someone going through that has definitely been an interesting adventure.
Do you think that I captured it kind of, non-offensively? I think I did my best to make it as non-offensive as possible. And also to mention your character's also drug addict and alcoholic. Mm-hmm. So you get to explore, 3 different major things at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
kind of just a chasm of disasters waiting to happen.
Jason Pitts just commented that the character of Toby is a douchebag. Yes, Jason, Toby is quite the douchebag.
The actor's not so great either, but you know what?
Didn't we just all discuss this before the podcast, that everybody in the script except for one person is...
Everybody besides the character of Sam, who is being portrayed by... Jordan Marie, is a douchebag. And I think that also works for the cast members as well. So, Jordan's the only person that isn't a douchebag.
Wait.
I agree.
Okay, wait. If you're going to say that, you got to put and crew.
Okay? And crew. And crew.
Okay, all right. Yeah, then I can accept it.
Pretty much the only person on the project. Most of the crew. Most of the crew. And that also goes for Olivia, since she plays Sam. She's also not a douchebag. I don't know her well enough, but you know.
Oh, she plays the young Sam, that's right.
Yeah, she plays the young Sam. So what you're saying is you're having fun with Toby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's totally different than every other character I've cast you as.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Sheriff Collins, don't get me wrong. But I feel like with Toby, I get to really expand my emotional range and go places and say things that Nick Kafkis would never say.
I don't know. You would say this quite a bit every time you read a line. You're like, I would say this.
About the drugs and alcohol.
So, Karl, as everybody can see, you're a nice person. You're a happy person. So what's it like being Lawrence?
Well, the thing with Lawrence... and it's funny. It's because Robin Williams, the actor, comedian, may rest in peace.
R.I.P.
He was hysterical. He was funny stuff. But I think some of his better roles was when he's playing the dramatic roles that were the bad guys,
angriest man in Brooklyn.
Well, yeah, I mean, or like, Photoshop, is it, or 1 hour photo?
Yeah.
And then Insomnia. And that it's kind of like the thing, what I'm looking at is I get to step out of me and step into like a totally different persona. And, part of the fun of that is finding that character, like, and that's, I've told you, recently I have an acting coach and we're working on, finding who Lawrence really is. And that's, that is amazing. And then going ahead and then portraying that, it's a challenge that I welcome a great deal. And it's going to be like, because it is not me, it's going to be fun because I'll be able to step out and step back into my own shoes once the role's done, and I can enjoy it. And so, like, to play somebody that is not you, like it's challenging, it's exciting, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the final product because it's a new journey for me. Because I've played characters before that were like drunk, or like a Santa Claus, or the friend of the main character in a horror movie, but I survived. A lot of all those characters, there's a lot of me. It's in this character. With this one, I'm really going to have to. It's like the journey is just going to be. It's something I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really hoping that I do the character justice.
I mean, just from the table read so far, you're doing justice to it. All three of you, like the whole cast, is doing great. I've been blown away so far by my choices. And the thing is, I'll get into this after I talk to Marcus. Marcus, Jacob is an interesting character to me because it seems like the way I wrote him, it's like he's reacting poorly to everything going on in his life. Like, what's it like playing the character of Jacob? Like, how's Jacob feel to you as a character?
Well, I always kind of end up playing a piece of shit. That's like what I've been casting for in a lot of my roles. Which is weird because I'm
totally
not. I'm like super. I'm not. I mean,
I was waiting for him to say, unlike these other two guys, I am this kid.
No, I mean, I have always been somebody that has tried to make good decisions and set high standards, had kids young, trying to get a PhD, all that jazz. And then I play these characters that are just kind of like, can't make the right decision if they had to literally save their life or save somebody else's life. But it's fun, and this role is really fun because there's kind of two Jacobs.
Yeah, you're playing that schizophrenic vision of Jacob that Nick has, where it's like, where Toby has. That Toby has, where it's like what Toby views Jacob as is like this perfect person. So you are playing that perfect person, a little bit of a douchebag, but a perfect person, and then you're playing the real Jacob, who's this total mess.
Real Jacob.
So going over my NDA that I signed here, are we sure we're supposed to be talking about?
I formed that thing. I can say whatever I want.
No.
I am the NDA.
I mean, it starts off clear that the fake Jacob exists. Like, the fake Jacob is a fake Jacob. It starts off clear. So, unlike everybody else, and that's what I like about this character that I wrote for you, Marcus, is you get to play two characters.
Yeah, and honestly, the faker Jacob is going to take more work because it's easier to have escalated scenes rather than to really come across confident in your character on that. I don't want to give too much away on the fake Jacob. Like that one's taking more work out of me on really how I want to say something.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Hence why you're getting the 2 paychecks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just split in half, actually.
It's just instead of handing him a full 100, I'm handing him 2 50s. So
yeah, I'll take it.
But and that's what I like about that is that we have that contrast, and you get to have that experience because, like, I almost felt kind of bad because, like, in the last film I cast you as, you were more on the lines of you were a douchebag, but more on the lines of the Toby-esque douchebag than the Jacob standard. Yeah. And what I was going to say is, like, I really enjoy the fact that, like, everybody I cast, their character is, like, the complete opposite of their personality. Like, complete 180. And for Marcus and Nick, a complete 180 from the characters I gave you before. So it's...
I Time out. So we just earlier, a few minutes ago, said everybody on the cast is a douchebag except for the two characters playing Sam. Now you're saying that everybody you cast is opposite how they are in real life. So you just said Jordan and Olivia are douchebags in real life.
Well, if you look at the character of Sam, she
That's
threw
a 1
away.
and 1 equals 3. Let's go.
I'll tell you how it equals 3. The character of Sam in real life is completely different than the character of Jordan. Jordan went to college. Jordan's trying to make something of herself. Sam basically said, screw everything, I'm just going to buy half a share of a crappy bar and waste her life away in her crappy small town. So, there you go.
Why, she's with a guy like me.
And, I mean, you could say that her life is a complete mess just because of the person she fell for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just
have
look
that
at...
effect on women.
But I appreciate you pointing out my inconsistencies, Karl. I really appreciate that a lot. I'll remember this when it's time to send out the checks. I'll know whose goes last. But how do you guys feel about about the project in general? Like, is it a story you can be honest with me, I'm not Director Clint right now. I have my podcast metaphor hat on. Like, how do you feel about the project? Like
We should probably scrap it.
okay.
Oh.
Okay. I want blunt honesty.
Wow.
I want blunt honesty.
It's honestly, it seems like it's going to be something really fun to make. I mean, obviously for my character, there's a lot of action scenes, a lot of movement and excitement, and it's not just one of those stagnated movies that, draws a lot of strings and you just never really get to where you're going. And
the story itself, after reading it the 5,000th time, actually has some interesting strings to pull. You're not left. Mm-hmm. You're left wanting more, but not with questions unanswered. Which
the thing that from reading it, for me, it has twists in it, and it has character development in it that it starts off it's kind of cliche going this way, and it doesn't, and so it's just like, oh, so you're like, okay, yeah, it's like when I read, and I'm not going to give any names or any scenes, but there's this one particular character, I was sure was going to, by the end of the script, would be dead, and by the end of the script, it's like not. And good, if this were to continue, would be a definite key factor, and it wasn't something that I was expecting, like 3/4 of the way through the script when I was reading it. So that's one of the things that grabs me with this is it's not a oh yeah, okay, you're sitting at the theater, yeah, so and so's gonna die, yeah, see, no, they're gonna fall in love, and it's there's not a lot of predictability in it.
And I love that you said the fall in love and kiss thing, because I didn't write any characters to blatantly fall in love, kiss. There's none of those moments. The most you get is a kind of an emotional, yeah, I know. And that's the big emotional moment in that movie. In the movie is going to be just this thing that you're building up and you're expecting something, and it's they know that right now is not the time for this type of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Han Solo and Leia thing where you expect him to say I love you, and he's just like, I know.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah. And
I'm not kissing my brother.
Oh, come on. You've done it already.
You guys were this close to kissing on the scratching. They were playing chicken, and it was this close.
Wow.
I won.
But
yeah, because it's the whole this interaction he has with Sam, at some points, it actually almost feels like not creepy or anything, but like a brother sister. They have that closeness, where because there's not so much that romantic thing, where it's more like they're individuals who are in each other's life and they care about each other, and it's like it almost feels like they've known each other for so long. For every now and then I get like a brother sister vibe, not a romantic vibe, and which is nice because it's showing like there's a lot of this script that is kind of like what you see in everyday life.
Yeah, it's humanity. It's
yeah,
and I think, not to toot my own horn, I think I'm good at writing real people. And that's what I wanted to do with the script, is like write real people. Now there is that dark fantasy part. There is that whole almost like battle between good and evil thing. But even that is not battle of good and evil. It's just battle of not even
power
right.
and power.
Yeah,
it's
power
a power
and power.
battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's all grays, which you guys know me by now, is kind of my forte, is that middle ground between what's good and what's right.
Each side, every side thinks they're the good guys.
It's real.
Yeah, and no, I want to ask you, Mr. Podcast Host, if I may. Were there any like your characters in the story? Are they inspired by real people you know, or are they just characters you've kind of just grabbed out of the air?
They're inspired. It's kind of convoluted. Pretty much everything I do is, though. There are, and I'll let you just assume. I'm not going to say which or what because I don't want to out people about things. But there's 3 characters that are based off of different aspects of myself. There's 2 characters that are based off of parental figures in my life. There's characters that are based off of a mentor in my life. So they're all based off of real people, at least personality wise. And the 3 characters, I'm kind of like Stephen King, where there's always going to be somebody that's based off of a part of myself, because write what you know what I mean? And it's kind of another, writing's a good way to perform like self-therapy almost. And I can say one character is Toby. Toby's based off of some aspects of myself. Now they're all extremes. They're all different. They're all parts of myself to an extreme. You know what I mean? So I can say... I
take Clint to an 11.
Yeah, Clint naturally is a 3, Toby's at an 11. And originally when I wrote the script, it was originally just going to be that first bar scene with Sam and Toby, and then it was going to be the John and Toby and Paul scene, and then Toby comes back and takes Sam and goes and leaves town. That's originally what it was going to be. It was going to be 15 minutes, and I was going to play Toby originally. And then I was like, well, there's no real meat to this story, so I just started adding, and more aspects of myself started pouring into characters like Jacob, and started forming characters based off of other people in my life, and then I just created this 96-page monstrosity that was supposed to be 10 to 15 pages. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not talented enough to be Toby. And then I was like...
Thank you.
Originally, I was going to cast Marcus as Toby because he'd already played Hank, and Hank was already an angry drunk. And I was like, well, I don't want to typecast Marcus.
Thank you.
So I was like,
I'm a man.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
That's my favorite line in the whole script.
I love it too. I love that bit. And so, yeah, I pulled a lot of reality into it, and obviously I don't know anybody that's, performed dark rituals in the middle of the park in a winter night.
I got you.
I do.
That I know of, that I'm aware of.
I even have the perfect knife for you, too. I'll show you off screen.
But, so
just
yeah.
Watch Sabrina, just watch The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, you'll learn all about that stuff.
I have that on my to-watch list. Is it good? Is it?
First season was good. Second season was okay. Third season, I'm personally not really in love with right now. But I'm hoping.
Okay, so just watch the first season and be done with it.
It gets worse. The 3rd and 4th are just awful.
Wow. Okay.
The 4th is so bad. I don't even want to finish the very last episode of the series.
And what's sad is I think reality is what killed the show because. And sorry to detract, but they had they're witches, and so they were worshiping Satan, and they had an idol in one building that was actually the same exact idol that the real life First Church of Satan uses, and they sued them. They're like, you didn't ask us to use that image. And
It's
so
our special flag.
Wait, the actual Church of Satan sued them?
Yes, and apparently won.
Well, obviously because lawyers are devils.
But the thing is because that's what in the third season, that's when they switched. They did the big. There was a big like reckoning and stuff, and now they don't worship Satan anymore. They found this other dark goddess or something to follow.
Yog Sothoth.
And I think that's where the downfall went, and they're trying to keep.
Legal issues caused the downfall
that's what
of
I
their
think.
show.
Personal.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Personal. That's speculation on my part, and I don't.
When you have to change, when you have to change like the entire power structure and religious structure of an organization in a show, that's a big change that a lot of people were getting behind, and then you have to make up all new rules and all new stuff just for that'll ruin a show. Marcus, Nick and Karl answered my question, and then I forgot the question now.
I think I remember it. This is one of those stories that it starts out and you're kind of thrown into it, but you're not lost. You kind of are just kind of hooked immediately, kind of like you know Toby pretty easily from the very beginning. You get to know him, and the way that you wrote the characters too, like even Eleanor's character, I think that's her name, right? Eleanor?
Yeah, Jennifer's.
Yeah. She's not like a super large character, but she's one of those characters that if Ginny gets in the moment, which she usually does when she gets under her nerves and acts out like astoundingly, people will walk away, and that could be her favorite character. That could be their favorite character.
Yeah, especially with what she's been telling me, because she's been working really hard, because this is, for anybody that knows Ginny, she's completely the opposite. Like, if anybody was truly the opposite of their character, Ginny would be the complete opposite of Eleanor in, like, every regard. And I really think she can pull it off. She's doing a great job on the character. And I appreciate that. And, yeah, I kind of threw you guys into this, like, power situation with the families and everything. Like, you don't, like... And that's what I wanted to get away from, is, like, expositing all this information, because like one thing I hate is expositing on people what they're supposed to feel and what they're supposed to understand. Like, I think there's only a little bit of exposition, and that's when it introduces that dark fantasy element.
Which one of the things for me, I haven't been acting a whole lot. I haven't been acting a long time, and I've always so far been like, okay, one of the things that I know I can really do well at is take direction. And so I'm usually like to the director, how do you want me to play this? What do you want this character to be like? What do you. And it's not so much that it's pretty much to date, I haven't created a character like on my own from reading a script. And this is the first script that I'm doing, the first production that I'm doing that with. Like I said, I'm working with an acting coach, and what we're doing, and like talking to you, like, and that's one of the other things what you've been so great about is like, well, what if he has this kind of prop all the time, and what if it's this kind of thing, and you've been, I like that, we can work that in, and so like, and I'm like just for me, like right now, and I'm not saying this is what my finished character will be, but I'm pulling a little bit from J.R. Ewing. That kind of, attitude and mentality.
Yeah.
And, it's like, again, for me, this is brand new, like, pathway for me. I've never walked this way on a character before. So that's why it's exciting for me, is I can't wait. And I know, and I've got all the tools that I know it's not going to be a screw up, but I cannot wait to see what my character like finally becomes and how he shows up on scene, like, how he really like, is revealed on camera.
Absolutely. And I enjoy, like, I'm the director, and you can ask these guys because they've been on set with me. If you have a last minute idea on set about your character and you're like, I really think this line should come across this way, I'm the type of director that's like, you're living this one character. I have to remember all 96 pages of everything that's going on in this script. So if you can find a way to make your character be... My goal is for every character to be able to be somebody's favorite character. Like I think Marcus said, like, you can walk away from this, and you can even, like, Luke could be somebody's favorite character, and he has, like 10 lines? Like, and I wrote him in a way that, like, he has a personality, or Philip has a personality. John, like, every character that talks has a personality. I think the teenager. I don't think anybody's favorite character is going to be the teenager. I'm sorry,
Hey, young
Deaton.
Toby's gonna kill it.
I'm sorry, Deaton Gabbard, but like you have 3 lines. I'm sorry. We'll get you in somewhere else. We'll just put makeup on.
But to give Deaton some, to give back up Deaton here, like, my wife who's in a coma probably has no personality.
I mean, yeah. There's that character too. And,
Love you, Deaton.
And that's what I'm a character writer. I write people, you know what I mean? And every person has personality, even if you only have a couple minutes of interaction. And I'm the type of person that when I meet somebody, I'll remember them for the rest of my life, because I always remember people by like something significant about them. And that's
I'm
why
in so much trouble.
Something unique too that I feel like you did. One of the biggest cliches of these kind of movies is the bad guys are all uniform.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like you put so much personality into each character that you're gonna know exactly who the bad guys are, but that doesn't mean they're not relatable, and that doesn't mean that you won't find some sense of enjoyment with them being on scene.
Like John, like the character of John, the whole humming a jazz tune, and he's smooth, and he's like, he's like your mafioso type of guy, like he's gentleman criminal. And then you got Philip, who's just like that arrogant, talks too much type of guy. You got Luke, who's the quiet, stoic dude, and then you got sorry, somebody sent me a message. Maxwell, who's like that power-hungry, like, almost like Kingpin-esque guy where he's got to have all the power. So you got all 4 of these villains are just like different personalities.
But and then the other thing you put into it, and like just piggybacking off of it, it's like they have frailty about them also. It's like they're like they're like they're the bad guys, and but it's not like, oh, I'm the bad guy, so I'm just gonna run right at you and get killed. Like you see in a lot of like action movies, stuff like that. It's like they're bad guys, and they have this position, and they like this position, and they want to keep it, and they know they can lose it, and that comes out as well, in the scripting with these characters, which that gives them that human element. You're humanizing the bad guys, which is great.
They're durable too.
Yeah. And that's just because I've always had this complaint, like, why are the bad guys just mindless goons, mindless drones? Like, there might be the lieutenant that has like a special color they're wearing or something. That's the only thing that makes them stand out. And like,
the only one mindless.
But that's like 90% of the movies out there.
Yeah, and it's a cliche, and it's a trope, and it's overdone, and I feel like people are sick of just watching bad guys run into swords and like have no personality, and their lines are just generic bad guy stuff. Like, and I really appreciate that. And then there's some characters that you're like, they could be a bad guy, but they could also be a good guy. Like Lawrence and Jacob, you have no idea where they sit at any point in the film, which I think is...
Even Toby early on comes off, I mean, obviously as a complete asshole, but you don't know if he's going to make the right decisions or if he's going to follow the right path that's going to, resolve everything.
And even Paul, at some points you question Paul a little bit about his motives and what he's doing. And, I mean, we don't have to get into other people's characters so much as we'll get into your guys's, but, like, that character, Paul...
Paul's got so much heart.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the Williams family dynamic.
Well, and that's the thing. That's when I first read the script. When I second read the script, I was the dad hates his kids. He's a jackass. And then when I went back and I read it with a different perspective. I had to take my personal judgment out of the character when I read it. And then also, like I said, I working with my with an acting coach, he would throw in a few little tidbits, and all of a sudden it just the dynamic completely changed for me. And I don't think it's so much. I really don't think he hates his kids. I think he loves his kids, and I think it's in that he's, like I said, like we said, he's old school, where it's like, he's everything he is doing, he's truly doing for his kids. But the one thing that he hasn't done is like ask them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I did this for you. I'm doing this for you. I built this for you. I got this for you. I gave this to you. But it's like, okay, fine. It's like, the dad who's a plumber, I wanted to say, Plumber and Sons, and the son's like a computer genius, and he wants to do, he wants to build the next operating system, but, dad's like, look, I got this, you're going to be Plumber and Sons, and so that's one of the things I think is like, he hasn't asked his sons, like, what do they want? I don't think it's ever even crossed his mind.
Right.
And so, and the other thing is, there is a lot of hatred in him. There's a lot of anger in him. And again, although you see it coming out on the sons, I really don't think it's truly directed at the sons. I think it's more internal.
Right.
To piggyback off that too, a lot of what Toby's going through is that same anger where he's so self-destructive towards himself. And, one of the great Lawrence lines is where you say that I inherited my mother's sickly gene, but I also inherited the self-destructive abuser. And, that's really part of the dynamic where Toby's almost trying to react in the same ways that his father would, perhaps, but it's just an even bigger disaster, and his successes don't really exist anymore.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's part of the conflict, is that the father and son are so much alike that it's like you put two put two alphas in a room, they're going to butt heads.
And then Jacob's just
it's going to happen.
So.
I guess that's calling Jacob a beta.
Well, no, I do think Jacob's character is more like the mother who we really don't know.
Right.
And I think that's another thing that angers, my character, Lawrence. That is like, because he truly does. He's still in love with his wife. He's still very much in love with his wife, even like we don't see her. There's stuff going on. He's got 2 grown kids and stuff. Like in a lot of marriages at that time has become more routine and stuff. But he's still very much in love with his wife, and I think Jacob reminds him of her more than. I just went completely blank.
Toby
does. Tobias. Thank you. Yeah. And like Tobias is more like the dad, Jacob's more like the mom, and I think that's what it is. So you get the 2 that are button heads, and the other one is like, you're reminding me of my, which, right, since he's so much in love with her, that's what's one of the biggest painful losses you can feel, loss of a loved one, and right now she's lost.
Yeah,
exactly. Do you have anything to say about it? Specifically Jacob's like stuff, Marcus?
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting, Karl, that you talk about there being this there's more of a relationship there with the father and the kids. Maybe if it's not actually demonstrated, that there's something more there, because it's easier, at least when you're trying to learn the script to build a character, to immediately go off the script and not consider that, because it's going to be easier for me to act out my lines if I just hate you.
Right.
If I just feel like no matter what, no matter how he treats me, I'm still going to try to make him think I'm a man. It's hard. I don't want to give away too much of the script, but it's with the mom being absent. I mean, these guys are messed up, and Jacob knows some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And he's real messed up, and I'm hoping that I can really. I mean, I think all 3 of us are going to work well together. I know Nick and I will, and Karl, I'm imagining you and I are going to work great together. But I'm hoping that these scenes that we have, really, I hope we slay them, because at least for the mother's portion of it, I have some experience with all of that. And so I'm hoping I can really channel that and bring that into the script. And so I don't know. I mean, I agree with you, Karl, but it's easier for me right now when I'm trying to act it out just to despise your guts.
And that comes across in the script too. Like, Jacob is basically this person that feels like he's forgotten by the rest of the family. You know what I mean? Because Toby is so focused on himself that he doesn't focus on anybody else, and Lawrence is so focused.
Like a modern Cain and Abel.
Yeah, and Lawrence is so focused on Toby and himself that he doesn't look at Jacob. You know what I mean? And then plus, like, what you said, like, that guilt and that sense of loss by just looking at Jacob. So, like, the character of Jacob, like, is dealing with all the same stuff your characters are dealing with, on top of dealing with extra stuff by feeling like nobody in the family appreciates him and respects him. And so, like, I really think that whole Marcus playing off, like, I hate you right now, I really think that that'll work.
Yeah.
Plus,
Karl, I do have to ask you, with considering your wife and the mother, how are you using that to kind of build your character, since she's not present in the script really, and we are? How are you using that to kind of build the man that is your character?
Well, and like, so like, one of the things that emotionally, mentally, that I'm working on developing is, like, in my head, in my mind, what you're going to see on film is, you know, be completely different. It's like they've got this nice house, right, in a nice part of town, and the house is completely decorated by the wife, with the one exception of, like, the study or office or man cave or something. Like Lawrence has one room that is like his work room, you know, and I can see, like, you know, it's got, like, books in my head. It's got, you know, the bookcases. It's got, like, the wood and leather desk with the, you know, the big leather chair and stuff. And he's got a box of cigars on the thing, and he's got a can of alcohol and stuff over on the side. And he's got like 2 chairs on the desk, and he's got, like, a little lounge, like a reading section in there. And it's very manly, and it smells very manly and business-like and stuff. But when you step out of that, the rest of the house is his wife put together. And so it's got that, not so much, you know, like, it's like flowers and chickens and stuff, but it's obviously it's got a woman's touch. Yeah. And so that's the thing and so for me, do we just lose somebody?
You still there?
No, I switched to my headphones again.
Okay.
Charge.
So like I said, is like he's an empire builder in his line of work, and he's really is like I said, inside he's a family man. He's old school. He doesn't show his emotion, like he doesn't show affection, not so much emotions, but that's like he was, the way I'm looking at it, like he was very much influenced by the generation before, which like they didn't show affection like publicly and stuff like that. Or it's like, you know, you're my son, of course I love you. It's implied. But the one thing that kept him grounded, the one thing that was good and pure and perfect in his world, his wife, is now out of the picture. And it's I don't, without saying too much about, like, I've already said that she was at one part in the script she's in a coma, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's like there's that unknown also. It's like, am I ever going to see her again, like conscious, awake, knowing who am I ever going to be able to hug her, to hold her? And that, you know, is going to eat at him. And it's, you know, and it's not so much, and that's the thing, is I don't think he thinks like, you know, what do the kids think? He's just, you know, it's because this is his wife. This is who he chose to be with. You know, he made the kids, right? You can always make more kids, but this is the one person that he said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, kind of thing. And now that has been taken away from him. It's not like it was like they had a divorce or something like that. It just, it wasn't in his control. And I think that's another thing. I think he likes, like I said, the way I'm putting it together, Lawrence likes to be in control. And only works things that are in control. So I think, you know, putting this together and putting on that's all these things together. What does he do? What the thing he knows, he shuts down, you know, emotionally, you know, kind of, or, you know, it's just like, okay.
He even tries to control our emotions.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just and then when he's just like he's got that mindset. And it could be that he's just so unfocused because of all this. He doesn't realize, like, when he's trying to control, he doesn't realize what he's doing. That could and he doesn't see, he doesn't acknowledge what he's doing to his sons.
Right.
Because there's because when some of the script, some of the scenes described, there's pictures, and if there's pictures about, if it wasn't a happy time, you're not going to put a photo up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You're not going to keep mementos. So there had to have been happy times when the kids were younger.
And it's implied in the script that there weren't any happy times after what happened with the wife happened. Like, there's no other pictures of the dad and the two sons up. And
it's almost like your mental state got so eroded from, her
she
going
was
into
the heart
coma.
of the family. Yeah, she was the heart of the family, and he was the brawn. But I don't mean like brawn as he was the breadwinner kind of thing. Like
he put
brought home
bacon
the
on the
bacon,
table,
and he put the food on the table, and then she did everything else.
Yep.
And now that she's not there to do that,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're lost.
Yeah,
You're out of balance.
And I don't know if you guys noticed this in the script, but like all three of you don't share a scene. Besides like that end part, but you don't have like a conversation, the three of you. You know what I mean? It's and I did that kind of on purpose because I didn't want, like, in the script it's implied you guys
The broken family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sorry,
I'm you said what I was going to say in less words, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
but
I gotta learn to hold my tongue.
You're good. You're fine. It's a podcast. Everybody's supposed to talk, just not over each other. And like something I really enjoy is that dynamic because like each of you has a different relationship with each other. Jacob and Lawrence have a different relationship than Toby and Lawrence. Actually, there is that one scene, that flashback scene, which caused you guys to be the broken family. That you guys are in the same room. And then there's that relationship between Toby and Jacob. And then I guess we can kind of count Toby and fake Jacob as well as a relationship. It's just Lawrence isn't aware of that relationship. And then like that spills over into your relationships with the other characters, with Sam and Eleanor. That dynamic is completely different as well. And like I kind of wrote in those moments to show Lawrence's humanity, which I think, Karl, you commented on and even reacted to. Like, there's those moments where you see that Lawrence can care about somebody. It's just he doesn't know how to care about his sons.
Mm-hmm.
Which
or just show that he cares.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to express it because there's that scene in Jacob's living room. And, like, I thought that even though it's, like, it's half a line in the description, I think, like, you and Jordan reacted to that moment when I read it out loud for that action. Like, it's going to show really heavily in the actual film. And I think we started realizing Lawrence's humanity after I did some edits. I added that scene with Lawrence alone at home. I did that scene with Lawrence and Sam. Like, I added some more because at first it was kind of hard to care about Lawrence.
I think something that you did really well there, too, with his humanity is adding in that layer where, father knows best, so I'm going to preserve the image of your own mother to Toby, even though Jacob knows everything that he's saying to Toby is a lie about this.
Yeah.
But because Daddy knows best and is a hard ass, he's going to make me hate him so that I don't hate Mom.
Right.
And I really felt a powerful connection to that.
Yeah, and it goes back to that he's the father that takes care of things and makes sure things stays whole, and he knows that Mom's the glue. So maybe if Toby still loves Mom and doesn't have resentment towards Mom, Toby would be fine. And I think that's part of Jacob's character too, and part of the reason why Jacob honestly is probably more messed up than Toby or Lawrence is that Toby knows the truth, but he hasn't been able to talk about the truth in like 10-15 years. You know what I mean?
Jacob knows the truth.
Yeah. Switch it.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, it's like yeah, right, and like to compare it, like if you've seen Batman or Dark Knight Rises, at the end of it, the whole Gotham's White Knight, okay, he became Two-Face, but you can't let the public know that. The public needs to hate somebody, and so Batman was like, I can be the one that they hate. They need to think that he's still this great guy to try to make Gotham a better place. And so, that's kind of like, Lawrence saying, it's like, I can be the bad guy, to make sure things are working the way it should work.
and a lot of dads from that generation are like that with things. Is I'll be the bad guy. I'll take all the blame. I don't care as long as everybody's okay. What I mean?
And they love to hide shit from their kids. Hi, Dad.
Did we just become a family therapy session?
Do I need to get the tissues?
Step into my office. I do have
I think you're going to need tissues on set, though. I think you'll definitely need some tissues on set.
There's going to be... people ask me what this film is, and it's kind of hard to describe because it does have that dark fantasy sci-fi element, and ParaGenex is a superhero universe. But what I've done is I've taken that idea of supers and really just put it into a drama, a really emotional drama, a realistic drama. And the whole idea of the powers and stuff is really it's no coincidence that I picked telepathy for a schizophrenic. You know what I mean? Everybody's powers are
mind bullets.
Pew, pew, pew.
I picked that because I was what would be a great power to have attached to a schizophrenic to make it even more compelling? And telepathy. Now you don't know if the voices you're hearing are schizophrenia or if they're really somebody's thoughts, and that's what keeps driving the character of Toby.
I'm hearing the thoughts of the voices in my head. Super telepathic powers.
Deep. Wow, that's deep.
That's messed up.
But that is interesting though, because that makes you can say so does the telekinetic or telepathic powers?
Yeah.
And schizophrenia, like how close are they really? Is it they said it's a thin line between genius and insanity.
Yeah.
A beautiful mind.
Is it a thin line between?
Would he be a schizophrenic without the telepathy?
Yeah. Is that in order to be a telepath, you have to have some level of schizophrenia, and the stronger telepath you are, the more schizophrenic you are.
And that definitely is something that might be brought up in later movies.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the whole idea of Maxwell, this egotist, and his power, that fits perfectly with the egotistical, maniacal bad guy. His ability to take and give at his will. You know what I mean? And then
But you complete. I don't know if for anybody else, but you just paused that whole thing. I was bad connection thing. So
yeah.
When you
am I better now?
The word bad guy on.
Yeah. Am I
yeah,
back
no, you're
now?
better now, but from when just the word bad, from the word bad guy. But the
whole idea of Maxwell to have this egotistical, maniacal bad guy to have a power to take and give at his will, that definitely fits with that whole self-involved personality type. Because he's clearly either a psychopath or sociopath, and those both are hard to diagnose somebody with. So,
and when someone like that taps into a dark
it's a god
magic,
complex, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. He's got a god complex, and now whatever happens to Jacob at the end, no spoilers. That fits. That's kind of a contrast to his personality. What he ends up getting. So instead of doing what I did with everybody else and giving them something that complements how they are, I gave Jacob this contrast. And I think it'll be exciting if we get to make a second one to see how that plays out.
Hell yeah!
So let me ask you real quick if I can. And I apologize. So when you were writing the script, because you are writing into an existing universe, ParaGenex, would you give him free reign, and how much of it was this is what I want, or this you have to have this in there, or just because this is somebody else's universe that you've been allowed to create it.
I was given pretty much free reign in Illinois because his story is self-contained in Indiana. specifically Indianapolis. But I had to like follow certain things, like powers didn't exist until this time, like this specific date. So to make it fit my narrative, I had to write this, and I didn't put any aging elements into the script on purpose because you don't know when this is happening. I had to make this 5 years in the future, so this takes place in 2026. So that this backstory I created for Paul and Maxwell could work out. You know what I mean? But other than that, I was given free reign. Because there's not like any rule about how powers are created. They just didn't exist until after this time. There wasn't any rule on powers work this certain way. Any rule about who has it, who doesn't. So other than that time period, free reign. And I really appreciate Darrell Miller, owner of Royalty Virtue, creator of ParaGenex, for giving me the opportunity to create this. And I really think that, honestly, even if it didn't have that name attached to it, this would be a good project. And I just appreciate that I have an already established brand attached to it.
Yeah.
It already comes with a fan base. What more do you want? But yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't put like any under. It wasn't part of any other like. I didn't get thrown a rule book, you know what I mean, or a show Bible. I didn't get a show Bible thrown at me when I started writing this. So I really appreciate that. Sorry, I had something in my throat. Marcus, you've been kind of quiet, bro.
No, I was just thinking. I didn't know a whole lot about that. What you were talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was all kind of new for me to hear this part.
Yeah, I didn't just come up with the word ParaGenex.
I was like, where did you get that from?
So is it ParaGenex or ParaGenex, or I mean, is there a proper way of saying it?
Honestly, I think it's ParaGenex.
Sorry, Marcus.
ParaGenex, I think.
Okay.
And the first season comes out on YouTube here shortly. So
cool.
I actually make an appearance in the third season. I'm going to make an appearance in the third season as a character. So
I've got a lot of fellow friend actors that are in the series, so it'd be cool to see them.
There's a reason I could. There were some actors I wanted to get involved in this, and I couldn't because they already existed. That was the hardest part. Was finding people that weren't already in ParaGenex. So But I will say I do have a character that's going to be in this show, in this series of films, if we get to make all 5 of them. He's going to be the one that appears in Darrell's. I'm not going to have many speaking lines, and I'm only going to show up in like 2 of the movies. So, you guys keep telling me I need to act, so I'm going to act. I'm just not going to have dialogue.
You tell me I'm good at acting every day. What do you mean? That's great acting.
So I just want to say, when are you going to sleep, sir, with all the other stuff you've got going on? Congratulations on your newest.
Yeah, I can't really say much about that, but thank you.
No, yep.
But I get a good 6 hours of sleep a night, so I'm good. Like, honestly.
No. If you start acting, you're not going to.
A good 4 hours.
You're just adding more to your circle of focus,
Well, acting's just going to be a side piece.
Marcus is killing it on that staring contest. I haven't seen him blink once since we started.
I know.
Dude, I'm a pro.
World champion.
Guinness Book of World Records.
Guinness World Records.
Is that still a thing? But
yes.
Yeah, I don't really know many more talking points about like the relationship between your 3 characters. Like I could go off about like Toby's relationship with pretty much everybody in the film, because I think you're the only person. No, you don't have a scene alone with Philip. Everybody's like missing one or 2 characters they interact with, like Jacob.
It's because Tobias is Philip.
Actually, Jacob's the only character that talks to everybody.
My dysfunction's for everyone.
I'm chatty.
Yeah. You see every character. I mean, you don't really have lines with Paul, but you definitely do interact with Paul quite a bit.
Yeah.
Busybody, I think, is the term.
Martin's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
His
think
Paul's fantastic.
I think all of our cast is pretty good. I like all of our cast. I mean, you guys haven't gotten to meet Chris and Isaac because of their lack of webcams, but you've met Chris and Isaac on a different project, which both good actors.
Chris died in my arms.
Is that tonight?
Died
You
in my
get that?
arms tonight.
I didn't hear. Oh.
I'm your arms tonight.
But I'm really excited.
Well, we could always talk about other projects, right?
I mean, I've got plenty to talk about. So, again, Nick and Marcus, I have you guys on a project where your characters hate each other. Like, and like you guys get along so great. Yeah, and you guys actually get along great. It seems like it's going to be a running thing.
As far as you know.
I mean, the only difference is in real life, I'm super jealous of Marcus. So.
He's jealous of how pretty you are, Marcus.
How pretty? It's
I meant
called starving yourself. It's starvation.
Hey, I'm jealous.
Living off of
I'm jealous of how
chicken.
pretty he is. Wow.
But,
You all look pretty on my phone.
thank
You all look pretty. No, I'm just hoping that on set that Karl and I can click the way that Nick and I did, because Nick and I, God, how many times did we talk about nailing that scene in the scratching where we were like, you could walk away and you're like, get me my Emmy now. Get me my, I need my award.
A two-take scene that we nailed like a minute monologue.
Well, it's when you have those moments though, that's literally what you live for in this industry. It's that one moment and the whole filming thing.
And honestly, the only reason this park scene exists is because you guys did so great on that porch scene and the scratching. Like, this park scene basically is an elongated version of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hoping that, like, every monologue that exists in this project, I'm hoping the actors involved in each of them click in a way where they can get this down. Because this project's very emotional. And I can't make you guys have emotions. I can just sit there and be like, "You're going. You got it."
I'm just excited to be on set and work with Karl on our scenes together. Like when he whips me like a dog. I'm excited to see how that's going to turn out.
I'm excited for that part too.
Slaps you to the ground.
I'm a method actor. Yeah, I'm a method actor, so I'm going to really beat the shit out of you. I hope you're okay with that.
I got health insurance for a little bit at least.
I mean, less work
for now.
Less work for our makeup department, I guess.
No, I will say, in previous lives, I have done I do have stage combat training and stuff like that. So I used to have to, with a company I was with, they used to make us choreograph our own fights and stuff with other people in the company, whether they get used or not. So it's like I know the angles, I know how to where to pull the punch or where to make it look like I really hit you, and I don't. So
I have.
If I do, I'm going to apologize now. If I accidentally do hit you, I'm sorry. I'm excited too. I think we definitely
wouldn't be the first time,
especially after tonight's conversation. Just hearing how with the way you're working your character, this is going to be a fun shoot.
I mean, we have 2 stunt choreographers too, so they'll be able to help you guys get it figured out for camera. Chris Donner and Isaac, they're both professional martial artists, so we got some work. And I mean, not to brag, but I've taken 5 classes with them, so I think I know what I'm doing too.
Well, you know what's great about
after that 6th
things
class, you won't need them.
What were you saying, Marcus?
What's that?
What's great about these things is no matter how experienced you come across or you feel or you don't feel, you always learn something from the other actors.
Oh, for sure.
And so like I know I'm going to learn something from Karl just because I haven't worked with like everybody in Scratching was relatively young. And he's like, well, she's like 16, right?
Who?
Or 40. Jenny. She said she was like 16.
74.
74.
So, like, Karl, I don't know how old you are, but you're older than. I know you're older than me, and I'm 31. So I don't know. You just learn something from everybody you work with, and you keep that with you, even if you don't think about it.
Oh, for sure.
Clint, am I the oldest one on the set? Of the cast?
Yeah.
It's a toss-up between you and Martin. Martin's 55. How old are you, Karl?
I'm younger than Martin. Yeah!
Yeah.
I'm 54. I don't act it, but I'm over the 50 point. So
Yeah, you and Martin are the oldest people on set. So, but
I'm an
Martin,
old
if
soul.
you're watching, yeah. Well, that's the thing I have, but I was always an old soul, even when I was 12. The way I was brought up, but.
now
But
you're a
that's the
young
thing
soul.
is like even after, yeah. But no, just like with the readings that we've been doing, the cast readings and the rehearsals, just everybody clicks really well. I mean, like, granted, it's over, over like a Zoom, Skype, Facebook kind of call thing, but it's just everybody just kind of fits in, and it's like we're all like-minded, and I think it's just I think the hardest part is when it's all done.
Yeah, it's cool. There's 5
gonna
of
be the
these,
hard
so
part.
we're gonna be working together often.
Set fam for life.
At least 10 years. No, but if you
and
can
payment triples each be right.
doubles,
Quintuples.
quadruples.
There you go.
No, but
I
that's
like the quintuple.
the one thing I've been told, other than how good of a writer I am, which I still don't believe, is that I'm good at building a team that works well together. The Scratching, we all worked well together. The Searching worked well together, even though that was pretty much the same team as the Scratching. I really think this team, cast and crew, is going to work great together. And that's because I can read people well and tell if they're going to get along with everybody or not, and that's the last thing I want, is to have a set that doesn't get along. Because that makes the project, it bleeds into the project every time. And I don't want anybody to work on a project that they're not proud of. I don't care if I do. I just don't want anybody else to. So I guess that means I don't either. The cast...
For me as an actor, hitting certain emotions helps when the set's a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah. And
Your range is there, you're not thrown off, and you can really get into your character.
Oh, yeah, and it's easier to, have those crying scenes when you're around people you trust, because that's a really weak moment for a human being, is when they're crying. And if you trust everybody that's on set, then you have one less thing holding you back from hitting that moment, and the director saying cut right before you hit it. Nick, that's the Searching.
Cough.
He was literally, the tears were about to stream, and I was like, cut! And everybody just looked at me, and I was like, gosh, crap. And yeah, I also think that the characters that are family are getting along great. The characters, like the younger versions of each actor, I think I cast pretty well in looks, and B, personality-wise, it seems to be meshing pretty well too. So I don't think that's something we have to worry about. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Like, we could talk about, our road to being an actor and all that stuff if you want, but I think the only person I haven't had on the podcast for that is Marcus, and we can't even see him. But, I mean...
Have you guys seen Soul?
No.
Not yet, no.
We were just talking about how I don't have time to sleep. How do I have time to watch?
It's the best Pixar movie in 10 years. Easily.
Better than
Yeah.
better than Inside Out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I honestly, for me, the top two are The Incredibles 1 and 2, and right now Soul is number 3.
Oh,
And I'm a Pixar nut, so
I might watch that. maybe not tonight.
It cuts deep.
I've heard great things about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get off, like, what do you guys think inspired this project? Like, I'm sure you could see some sort of interweavings of something that inspired the script and story. But not what, but like other films or writers or directors.
Drunken drug addict, a relative in a dysfunctional family.
I said
I've seen it before.
I meant like from movies and stuff, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
Just want
Or
to
like
see.
what other movies influenced this one?
Yeah,
You're asking?
yeah, or directors or whatever.
I got a lot of the Matrix vibe.
Oh, Matrix. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Karl.
I want to be a clown and say Fargo, but
Oh,
no,
Never-ending story.
it's a
yeah, no,
never-ending
hey,
story.
come back to me. Come back to me. Go to
Mar-
Marcus first.
Marcus.
That's hard, man, because as much as I love to act, I'm a one-dimensional movie guy, and I only watch horror movies. I literally only watch, like, horror movies, even if they're, like, nasty slaughterhouse,
Oh,
ghetto,
Marcus.
trashy.
Marcus.
I'm not a good... I've never even seen the Star Wars, any of the Star Wars movies. Except for the new one where he disappeared when he was on the rock, and then he, like, showed up as a ghost by his ship.
The worst one.
What about
sorry.
Mandalorian?
You're fired.
No.
Have you seen Mandalorian?
Please don't. I mean, I've seen all of them twice. I haven't.
In lieu of
You seen
getting
Lord of
paid,
the Rings?
can we have him removed from the cast? No.
Oh man, he's gonna not
I've
get
seen
paid
a
and
little
remove you.
We're gonna take a couple days, Marcus, when Jacob and Toby aren't filming, and we're gonna knock some movies out.
Yep.
Oh,
Big
man.
I
Ben
should
coming.
probably start playing them while I'm like doing lab stuff, just to. But no, I haven't seen it. And
Mhm.
oh,
No, never
Karl,
mind.
your turn before I get fired.
I you know, I'll be honest. Nothing really comes to mind that like this is kind of unique.
I appreciate that.
Willow.
Well, it's
That was a poll.
no.
That was
no,
a
Willow-
poll.
Nothing like it.
Willow's classic. Willow's a classic, but Willow that's a journey. That's a
I
coming
love
of.
Willow.
That's like a coming of age kind of thing, like as an adult. But no, this one it's
Madigan.
I couldn't see, maybe if I had to anything Iron Fist.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So what I did is I pulled in. You're gonna realize it the second I say it. I pulled inspiration from Star Wars 4 and 5, so New Hope and Empire.
wait a minute. So which one of my kids gets their hands cut off?
Not literally. He gets cut off financially. The Matrix kind of, but not really. Kind of like tonally. But it was more like episodes 4 and 5 of Star Wars, and then Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, I got the Reservoir Dogs for sure with the character name.
Oh yeah, with the bad guys, quote unquote bad guys. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I can.
The
Okay,
code names, yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Mhm.
definitely see that.
And then, if you look at it in Star Wars, and that's why I keep calling Paul Obi-Wan, because he does have that hermit that comes out and finds the guy that lives in a small town, and takes him on this grand journey and tells him that he has this power that he can use to help people.
Mhm.
Yeah, or like
And,
with
So
Iron.
what I'm really hearing
Could
is
be
this
the
is
monks,
based on
right?
Dune.
What I'm really hearing is Dune inspiration. Is what I'm really hearing.
Yeah.
And then kind of the twist. It wasn't an "I'm your father" twist, but the twist at the end that you find out about Paul and his relation to the is that twist. You know what I mean? So,
Wait.
That's
His relation to the Goblin King, and he starts spinning those little glass balls around. Is that what you were doing? Practicing with
the babe.
Nah.
But there's no David Bowie in this movie, unfortunately. But yeah, that's where I got inspiration, and then I pulled inspiration from other sources here and there, but those were my two main like movies that I thought of when I made it. Was the original Star Wars trilogy and Boondock Saints. I mean, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir
Dogs.
Yeah.
I say this is definitely not a
lot of notes of the
feel.
A lot of notes of the hatred. A lot of notes. No, but that's what. And I always tell people Lucas and Tarantino are like two of my biggest inspirations. So, and people are like, superheroes has to be Avengers, and I'm like, this isn't. I mean, there's no superheroes in this movie. I wouldn't call anybody a hero in this movie. We don't have a hero. We have a protagonist
anti-hero
and an antagonist. I wouldn't even say you work hard to be an antagonist.
Have you seen any of the boys?
Yes.
I wouldn't say like any of them are superheroes either.
No, and that's why I think this is a good time to make this movie, is because people are really going into that darker area. Or, you could say the Defenders. I wouldn't really call any of them heroes. Jessica Jones isn't a hero. Luke Cage, kind of an anti-hero. Daredevil, anti-hero. Iron Fist is the closest to being
Nick
a
Cage,
hero.
totally anti-hero.
Nick Cage, yeah. I meant Luke Cage.
Complete anti-hero.
But, as you can tell, it's getting late. My words are failing me.
Are you talking, what was the name of that movie? God bless.
Con Air?
No, where he's the devil's.
What a film!
He's the devil's like errand boy. Ghost Rider.
Oh God, Ghost Rider. I forgot about that.
The first one was great. The second one, Second
one was cheese.
Yeah, and I think they meant it to be though, because even like with Nick's acting in that one, it was just like, really,
his overacting. That he's
oh my God, yeah.
I think his masterpiece though is Lord of War.
Oh, that was a great movie.
It was actually good.
Love that film.
But all right, thank you guys for joining us on this live stream, and take care. And like always, support your independence. Thank you everyone for enjoying that episode. I really hope you liked it. Thank you for tuning in, and please continue to do so. Subscribe and look out for every new episode. One should drop on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I always live stream my episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please tune in and enjoy that as well. And remember, support your independent film community.